into authentic conversations about ourselves and our community, exploring topics that uplift and inspire us, from personal growth to social change. So grab your teacup and get ready to join the conversation.
Was a lot of them seemed to want to get on the jury, that they wanted to be in on this case. They, oh yeah, I can be objective even if I had an opinion. They seem to want to be there, and if they want to be there and they're in for a penny, they're in for a pound.
Well, there was one guy who was disqualified because he actually talked about TMZ, and he says his wife is on the app all day long and that there was really no way he could avoid it. But he said, Your Honor, I think I could be fair and impartial. And when he left the room, Agnifilo said, I don't think so. So
they want to be on the jury. So if they want to be on the jury and it's 8 or 9 weeks, Nancy, O.J. Simpson was 9 months. I get it. A lot of people don't want to do it. But if you don't do it, I mean, this jury is going to be poisoned with opinions. And it's worse because it's not televised.
Okay,
because the person's...
let me jog your memory to when you were a lawyer, okay? Remember that?
I'm still a lawyer.
Time warp. If the defense isn't asking for sequestration and the state is not asking for sequestration, there's not going to be sequestration. End of issue. If the defense wants it that bad, ask for it.
Okay, so let me take you back to a time that you probably weren't even born. During the Charles Manson case, the jury was sequestered. They were walking into the criminal courthouse, and there was a newsstand there. And the headline of the LA Times was, and I remember this, I was not a lawyer, I was in college. It said, Manson guilty, Nixon declares. The jury looked at that window and saw it. The judge almost declared a mistrial just for that. This will be 1,000-fold more poisonous than what the Manson jury saw. There is no way.
Harvey, please give the jury a little credit. What about that parade of witnesses on the stand and the dead bodies? All those photos. Remember those in the Manson trial? That's why there was a guilty verdict. And that's why there's going to be a guilty verdict in this case. Because the witnesses, the videos, all of that evidence, is a mountain of evidence, is going to convict Sean, a.k.a. Puffy, a.k.a. Puff, a.k.a. Puff Daddy, Diddy, Love, you name it. Sorry, Garagos, he's going down. I don't care what
I have to say, I think we're in a new era.
He's going to be convicted.
You know, the interesting thing about Nancy is you would think that she was part of the prosecution team because apparently all the evidence, she's seen all the videos, and she already knows that it's a foregone conclusion. I would just counsel, why don't you presume innocence, which is what the judge in every trial in America tells the jurors that they're supposed to do. You could presume innocence all the way through the trial, which is what they promised to do. You can't even presume innocence all the way through the 45 minutes.
Maybe it will all turn out differently than what's alleged in that indictment. You may be right, Garagos, but from what I've seen so far, yeah, just like all those guys that Levin was showing on TikTok, yeah, he's going down.
You know, guys, it's fine to have the
You're all here to play a game.
I don't have a developed sense of
while they are paying bills over on TMZ, we are also checking in. Thank you, everybody new to the Tea Sippers. We are the sippers over here, okay? We sip all the teas. I'm Tanisha and I talks teas, okay? I want everybody that comes in and fills up their cup to please like and subscribe. It's your little way of just telling me the tea is good. Thank you. They are still paying bills. Okay, over on the TMZ, United States versus Diddy. Today was his first day of his trial. Okay, the first official day kicks off today. And lots of little things have happened. Okay, you already had the witness testify and all that good stuff, y'all. Drop y'all's tea in the chat. What do y'all think? It's gonna be Diddy's fate. Just so much tea to sip, y'all. Just so much tea to sip. And we're back up.
And they say they're going to wheel him in a
Hey,
wheelchair
hold
with
on,
a neck
Ashley.
brace.
Ashley.
Yeah, what I think is really critical in this day and age, and I think Ebony, hit the nail on the head. She said she grew up in the Instagram era, and now everyone is in it, whether you grew up in it or not. And the truth is, it's the real world now, and it is a whole different world. And the all court needs to get more progressive in dealing with the realities of, it doesn't matter if you sequester someone or not. This stuff is going to always be out there at this point. And the problem is, you and I, all of us, we get it. We know how important it is not to look at something, not to assume that something on Instagram is fact. It's just a moron who has a microphone. But the problem is they don't. People who watch Instagram cite it as fact. You know it because you've seen it now for years and years. And so the court needs to accommodate for this. I don't know what the answer is, but I think the answer needs to be probed. And we need to start accommodating for who these jurors are and what they see and whether they can be disabused of it when they come back into the courtroom every day.
How do you disabuse? I don't get it. If you're looking at TikTok and people are not presenting information, they're advocates on all sides. They're advocates. That's what TikTok is. That's what Instagram is. So how do you disabuse when people are drawing conclusions at the end of each day after they've heard testimony? I think it's impossible.
Well, so here's the thing that I think we all remember from our earliest iterations of learning legal practice, and that is that the law is always playing catch up to whatever technology is advancing at the time. And unfortunately for this particular moment, it's beyond the pale, right? Because we're talking about social media and Instagram, and that's one thing. TikTok, one thing. Idiots with microphones, that's one thing. Ashley, you're absolutely right. The AI of it all, which we haven't even gotten to, right? The fact that people can now configure completely fictitious things that look by way of video, by way of voiceovers. I mean, it is downright scary as to just how far this technology can go and be very compelling and very convincing, and how to get in front of it, that is way beyond my pay grade.
Well, and I'm gonna, Harvey gets mad when I say this, but the current law, and to Ebony's point, is 50 to 60 years behind the times. It was designed to protect a defendant's right to a fair trial. It's been turned on its head. In that particular district, the Sarah Palin case was reversed because the circuit found that people got breaking news alerts while they were deliberating. That's a real problem. And at some point, the U.S. Supreme Court is going to have to decide what's more important, the First or the Sixth Amendment.
Supreme Court said, well, I mean, I think the First Amendment. I mean, they call it a preferred position.
I don't know. I think at this point,
the defendant's rights really important.
Yep, I think so too. I think you're going to find that when they grapple with it, they say no. The six at certain points takes precedence.
Okay, we're out of time. Can we at least all agree on one thing? If Geragos does show up in court next week, press your suit.
Please, no medical outfit.
Yeah, really.
Now, I want him to wear the scrubs he's wearing right now.
Okay, guys.
Why?
We love you. You know why.
Thank you, Nancy Kerrigan. We will see you guys next week. Thanks a lot. As we end the week and everybody gets ready for opening statements on Monday and then testimony, notably Cassie Ventura's testimony, we are going to talk about what happened, what is going to happen, and some inside information that we got about the case.
All right, so we just paid some homage to TMZ United States versus Diddy. Okay, let's see if TMZ has anything else.
The disconnect between the public perception and the publicly filed indictment may be one of the largest chasms I've ever seen in the last 40 years.
So we're doing all Diddy stuff. I've already covered, Diddy trial stuff. I've already covered the downfall of Diddy. So you guys can go back on my page.
That will negate any
if it's not on YouTube, then it's on Facebook, okay?
If all the
Let's continue to sip tea from Diddy.
Proof and argument when they put this thing up for trial.
Diddy trial updates. Former security officer gives tense testimony about 2016 Cassie assault. Lawyers on both sides of Sean Diddy Combs. Sweeping federal sex crimes trial delivered their opening statements on May 12th. Today, and jurors heard from the first witnesses in the case who testified about violent incidents stretching over the years. Prosecutors allege Combs lured women into romantic relationships, forced them to take part in days of drug-fueled sex parties, and then blackmailed them with videos he recorded of the encounters. Start the day smarter. Combs viciously attacked women when they resisted taking part in the parties, known as the freak-offs, or otherwise upset him. Prosecutor Emily Johnson said during her opening statement in Manhattan federal court, they will tell you about some of the most painful experiences in their lives. The days they spent in hotel rooms, high on drugs, dressed in costumes to perform the defendant's sexual fantasies, Johnson said. Later, the Bad Boy Records founder's defense lawyer, Tony Garagos, that's the guy that we just saw on TMZ, countered that prosecutors, one second. So later, the Bad Boy Records founder's defense lawyer, Tony Gregoros, countered that prosecutors were trying to twist Combs' romantic relationships into a racketeering and sex trafficking case, okay? So they're saying that, of course, whatever went on with Cassie, that's what that was, and it wasn't sex trafficking or racketeering. He's a complicated man, but this is not a complicated case. The case is about voluntary choices made by capable adults in consensual relationships, says Geragos. He told the jurors. Combs faces sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution charges. He has pled not guilty. One factor remains during the jury selection process. Potential jurors told the court over and over again that they seen the much talked about video that allegedly shows Combs beating, kicking, and dragging his ex, Cassie Ventura, fine. After opening statements to 12 jurors and 6 alternates heard from the prosecution's first witness, Israel Flores, a former security guard who testified he received a call for help after the incident in 2016. They later heard from Daniel Phillip, a man who said he saw Combs physically abuse Ventura and who told the court he was paid to have sex with her. Whoa. Daniel Phillips said a man who said he saw Combs physically abuse Ventura Fine, and he also told the court that he was paid to have sex with her. Girl, stop it. And I believe that's going to wrap up our day. Well, let's read this. Second witness tells court he saw Combs grab Ventura Fine by the hair, dragging and slapping her. Daniel Phillip, a stripper, took the stand second and testified he had sex with Ventura. Whoa, fine for money multiple times in 2012, 2013. While Combs watched and masturbated. The prosecution's second witness recounted an episode in a New York City hotel where Combs threw a liquor bottle in Ventura's direction, grabbed her by the hair, and dragged her screaming into another room where he heard Combs shouting and slapping Ventura around. Phillips said Ventura was distraught after Combs left the hotel room. She literally jumped into my lap as she was shaking. Like literally, her whole entire body was shaking. She was terrified, he testified. Defense presses the first witness intense cross-examination. During cross-examination, Combs' defense attorneys questioned why Flores did not mention the fact that Cassie had a purple eye in his hotel incident report, nor Combs telling her, "You're not leaving." He filled out the report in his capacity as a now former security guard at the Los Angeles hotel, where video captured the music mogul appearing to beat then girlfriend Ventura Fine. The opposite is in your report, the defense said, citing the report as saying that Miss CC was told to leave by Mr. Combs, and she did just that. The defense also questioned why other details Flores testified about, such as seeing a man sitting on the bed in Combs' room, were not in the incident report, and asked repeatedly how and why he remembers this information now. Flores said some of these details seemed unimportant to include in the report. The defense asked why law enforcement was not called. Flores said that Cassie told him not to. If she refused, that's where it ends, he said. We offered and they said no. Hotel security officer details 2016 Cassie assault. During court testimony, Flores detailed Combs' alleged 2016 assault on Ventura Fine at a LA hotel, which resurfaced in the leaked footage in the incident on May 24, 2024. Flores, who worked as an assistant director at the now closed Intercontinental Hotel, said he received a call in the morning of March 5th, 2016 about a woman in distress. He also said he saw security camera footage of a man later identified as Combs pacing back and forth in the hallway. The prosecution played the hotel security footage multiple times, first in full and then slowed down and broken into multiple parts, including Combs stalking the hallway, Cassie trying to put on shoes, and Combs striking her back, kicking her repeatedly, and dragging her back into the room. When Flores arrived at the hotel's 6th floor, the security officer alleged he saw Combs wearing a towel and socks while Ventura Fine, Cassie, who was clad in a sweatshirt, was huddled in the corner hiding her face. The remnants of a shattered flower vase lay on the floor. He added, regarding the pair's demeanor, Flores said Ventura Fine, Cassie looked scared and that Combs gave him a devilish stare upon his arrival. Flores testified that Ventura and Cassie just wanted to gather her belongings, a phone and a bag, and leave. Combs then allegedly attempted to stop Cassie's departure, telling her, "You're not going to leave." Flores said he escorted Combs back to his room and told him the damages from the incident would be charged to his room, after which Combs allegedly offered him a stack of money in exchange for staying silent about the altercation. Flores testified he declined the offer. Okay. Of Ventura Fine's injuries, Flores noted that the woman had a purple eye as she walked to the valet area of the hotel. When the security officer offered to call law enforcement, Flores said Ventura Fine Cassie told him she just wanted to leave. Afterward, he said Cassie met with a 7-foot tall driver who asked her to come with him. So, okay, that was the first witness testimony of the security guard at the Intercontinental Hotel, once was, no longer there, where the incident took place of him beating Cassie. Okay, so apparently Cassie's husband was spotted at the Diddy trial. Alex Fine was spotted at the courthouse during the first day of the opening arguments. Fine, who wed Ventura Fine in 2019, so that would be what, 2 years? She leave Diddy in 2017. So 2 years after they share 2 children with the singer, and with the third on the way. He is presumably there to support Cassie, his wife, of course, who will serve as one of the prosecution's key witnesses, recounting a decade of alleged physical and sexual abuse at the hands of her ex-partner, Combs. So this would be Cassie's husband here. Okay. That's her husband there. Okay. Jury sees the violent 2016 video. So, from Law and Crime was saying that, you know, if they showed the video of him beating Cassie before she testifies, that's already going to paint a picture in their head of who and what happened, right? So they did show the video today. Jurors in Combs' sex trafficking trial viewed a 2016 video in which the hip-hop mogul assaults his then girlfriend, Cassie, throws her to the ground in the hallway of an LA hotel and kicks her as she tries to enter into an elevator. Prosecutors introduced the video on the first day of evidence in the high-profile trial. Combs, wearing only a towel, is then seen grabbing Ventura Fine's belongings and dragging her into the hallway. He leaves Ventura Fine behind. She lies motionless on the ground for a moment before getting up and walking to a hotel phone mounted on the wall. Combs returned to the scene shortly thereafter and appears to grab at the phone. He then sits in a chair opposite Ventura Fine and throws the vase in her direction, shattering it. Combs apologized after the video first aired on the CNN last year. Prosecutors then called their first witness into trial, okay? As prosecutors lay out their accusations against Combs, they called their first witness in Israel Flores, the security guard, okay? So we read all of that. Flores has been called to introduce video footage prosecutors plan to show of the violent altercation, okay? Defense seeks to shape jurors' view of the violent Cassie video. Prosecutors plan to display a video that appears to show Combs violently assaulting his ex-girlfriend, Cassie, in a hotel hallway. They say the video took place during one of Combs' freak-offs and is evidence that he was trafficking her for sex. Told you. Geragos addressed the video in his opening statement, calling the video horrible, dehumanizing, and terrible. She said it shows domestic violence, but she told jurors the fight was about a phone Combs was trying to get from Cassie, not about forcing her into sex. It takes all of that to take a phone from somebody? I don't think so. Prosecutors said Combs kept women under his power and trafficked them using force, fraud, and coercion. But Geragos painted a picture in which Ventura Fine was entirely free. For Cassie, she made a choice. Every single day for years, Geragos said, Ventura Fine was choosing to stay with Combs until one day she just chose to up and leave him. Prosecutors have said Combs used videos of women in sex acts as a form of collateral, though, to control them. But Geragos said that the freak-off videos involving Ventura Cassie that will feature in the trial came from her own phone. The lawyer suggested that the evidence that was evidence the power dynamics between them ran in the opposite direction. I mean, he could have used her phone, you know what I'm saying, to make it look like, yeah, you're going to be a part of this. Like when criminals, say you rob a bank or say you kill somebody in front of somebody and they're like, oh, now you shoot them too. You know what I'm saying? To make you also be incriminated in the matter because now you've also done the deed and the act that the person is doing. So, defense questions motive of ex-employees. Accusers set to testify against Diddy. Girl, it's going to be a long summer. This is going to be a long summer, 2 months. So defense questioned the motives of Combs' former employees and accusers set to testify in his trial. In reference to Mia, a former personal assistant of Combs, and other former employees expected to testify against Geragos, asked in her opening statement, why are they making this allegation now? Other employees, Geragos said, will allege a hostile work environment, but she questioned why they didn't call the police at the time. Please, like, we know who Diddy is. Like, please stop acting like Diddy may or may not have had, law enforcement on his side. Like, stop it, y'all. So I want to thank all 17 of you guys for listening in. Please, please, please like and subscribe. Okay, so let's keep reading this tea on the first day of Diddy's trial. So, in reference to Combs allegedly paying a security guard at the where were we? Okay. Geragos went on to claim that accusers wanted money rather than go to the law enforcement. She said Ventura Fine went to a civil lawyer for a money grab. Ventura Fine is okay. Cassie Ventura Fine. Fine is her husband's last name. So that's putting that on. In reference to Combs allegedly paying a security guard at the Intercontinental Hotel. So the video of him appearing to beat Ventura Fine would go away. Geragos said Combs was not trying to obstruct justice, but protect both him and Ventura Fine from bad publicity. This girl probably got a broken rib, but he talking about some publicity. I'm pretty sure she needed to be seen at the hospital. I'm pretty sure. Geragos added that drugs for both Combs and the women were for personal use and that the use of escort companies is common. She ended by saying, you are not here to judge your moral beliefs on Combs. He had a bit of a different sex life. Ooh-wee, yeah. Geragos told jurors that the defense doesn't plan to deny Combs' personal responsibility for committing domestic violence, but said that they also expect others to take personal responsibility. She said domestic violence is illegal, but it's not what Combs is being charged with in this case. Domestic violence is not sex trafficking. I want to say it again, she says. Domestic violence is not sex trafficking, Geragos said. Combs was physical and a drug user, Geragos said, and he had a bit of a different sex life. However, Geragos also characterized Combs' alleged victims as people who need to take responsibility for their own actions. You will see that they are capable. You will see that they are strong, Geragos said. Combs' attorney paints accusers as jealous exes. In her opening statement, Geragos told jurors that they will see Cassie Ventura Fine and Jane Doe's jealousy on full display in the trial. Geragos argued that Ventura Fine was jealous when she realized that she would never be Combs' wife, while Jane Doe was jealous that the rapper did not want to be exclusive in their relationship and had other sexual partners. Ooh, baby. Regret does not mean coerce, the attorney said, adding that every woman in the case had free choice. All right now, first day we out the gate. Referring to an incident where Combs allegedly went to Jane Doe's home and beat her. Geragos told the court the altercation started when Doe slammed his head on her kitchen counter. Ooh, she is strong. Geragos also accused being overcome by jealousy that night. Girl, okay, so they're saying that one of the Jane Does slammed Diddy's head on the kitchen counter. Now, all you girls out there, even you manly, you masculine girls, have y'all ever slammed a man's head down on something? It takes some force to do that to a man. And Diddy's not a little dude. Diddy ain't no midget. He ain't no little bitty, little nothing. Diddy's a pretty statuesque guy. He about 6'2". He ain't no like, you know what I'm saying, little scrawny. He ain't Snoop Dogg scrawny. Not saying that Snoop Dogg is weak, but I'm saying Diddy is a math, you know, like a statuesque looking guy with some meat on his bones. She slammed Diddy's head on the kitchen counter, and that's when he beat her up. Girl, I want to see some evidence. Where the evidence at? Prosecution says Combs punched and kicked Jane Doe less than a year ago. Johnson also told jurors about Jane Doe, who was a single mom when she met Combs in 2020. A few months after they met, Combs allegedly introduced Jane to his freak-offs. She thought it was a one-off wild night, but loved him desperately and wanted a real relationship with him. So I'm confused right here, Case. If she thought it was a one-off wild night, why you in wild night?
Thanks for watching. Remember to show your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing. It's a blessing. Keep your teacups filled and ready for my next upload. Until then, stay inspired and remember, always stay dipping.